Oh,
Woo! Unplugged.
well, fancy leaving me stood on that bench.
I was flying high, flying high.
dear,
How the heck are
dear.
you? Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Your Manchester with me, Miss Belinda Scandal.
And me, Mr. Mark Llewellyn.
How are you?
I'm all right, my
We've
love.
got a lovely show tonight, you know. We really
Have we?
have.
Is it a big snappy one?
It's a big snappy one.
Because I can't stand hanging about.
No, me neither. Can't stand time delays. Speaking of which,
Yes, what?
we have got a marvellous show today featuring the very comedic and wonderful Mr. Omid
Jalili.
Piccalilli. He's on the show today, everybody. As
Yes.
if that's not enough for you, also, we are going to a post-apocalyptic world of 2020.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but
Of 2029.
2029.
That's, I believe,
Good
where
God.
it's set. This show from 53.2 that they're going to be delivering to us very, very soon.
Wow.
And if that's not enough, let's take a deep breath and remember we are now celebrating 40 years of HIV activism.
Yes.
And we'll be showing you a piece about that later
Yes,
on.
we had a lovely evening.
It's going to be absolutely marvellous.
Yes.
So let's crack on.
Yes, indeed. And why
Okay.
don't we, what?
Omid.
Omid Jalili.
Yes.
So I think somebody we have all enjoyed watching on stage and on television is the fabulous Omid Jalili, who is coming to Blackburn on Friday and then going to Lancaster and Blackpool and all over the place. Thank you for joining us, Omid.
Thank you. It's Burnley, not Blackburn. Burnley.
Oh, sorry, Burnley. I beg your pardon.
Burnley Mechanics.
we go.
Yes.
We're at the Mechanics Theatre and we are excited. What I've wanted to say all day is namaste. Now, what does that word mean to you?
Namaste to you as well, and the people of Manchester. I'm extremely happy to see you. This whole tour, it's been very strange that because I've got so much on, we've been going to regions and areas. I normally do Manchester, I normally do Liverpool, but those shows were in the warm-ups, and now I'll be coming to the northwest, Manchester, with all my mates. There are lots of mates in Manchester coming up. And they're so funny. My friends up there, and my son actually lives in Manchester. And namaste means anger is not a bad thing, but it's me putting all my anger of all the last few years and putting it into a catalytic converter and hopefully getting some comedy, some insight, some beauty as well. So it's been a show that has gone around the world. Usually you start a show in the UK, then you take it, but I took it around the world first. And now I think it's the best version. We've landed in the UK, and there's been standing ovations. It's funny how many more standing ovations you get when you take all the seats out the theatre. That's one thing that really works well. It's my little tip for the next tour. Just take all the seats out. So it's been going great.
So is this show then, would you say it's kind of a therapy session for you?
It's a therapy session for everyone, actually. People have come away saying, "Oh my God, I laughed, I learned." I was in Seattle, where they didn't know who I was. They just said, "Who is this guy?" And is it some bald, overweight Iranian from the UK? They were very confused by me. I had a very English voice, and they were really quite standoffish. But after the show, there was a queue of people who were all the people working at the theatre, all the theatre staff, the sound guys, the security guy. The security guy goes, "Hey, buddy, I need like a selfie with you." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Oh, you didn't look up to much, but now I laughed, I learned. I'm never gonna forget this night." And I thought, wow, that's great. When a bald fat man shows up and wins the whole crowd, like win the crowd, win your freedom, as Oliver Reed says in Gladiators. So that's what happened. So it's been going great.
When you're creating this show and putting this show together, how much are you self-censoring and how much you just think, sod it, I'll put this out and see how it lands?
Yeah, I think that's what I think. Always comedians think we've got to be careful with our wording. I tell the people at the beginning. I said I've seen the jokes. Every joke is brilliant. I've worked on it. I stand by every single word. But also, I'm old enough to say, you know what? I don't give two hoots if you don't like it. You can get lost. I don't care. You just get to the point where you get old enough. You think I don't care. I've had people come up to me saying, "No, I didn't like this bit. I didn't like that." I said, "Mate, it's fine. It's okay. I love you." And we always hug. I always hug it out with them. But it just gets to a point when you realize the world does not belong to 17 and 27-year-olds. When you're in your 50s, when you're bald, when you're wise, you can live a fabulous second act. And when you're doing that, it means you say what you think. If you feel you've got moral clarity, then you stand by what you do and what you say. And I stand by every single word of this show.
Fantastic.
So if you're looking for a fight, If you're looking for a fight, I'll fight you afterwards. I'm quite
verbally, I love a good argument.
Yes, I think we can both identify with
that.
with that, can't we?
Yes, indeed.
But it is so refreshing, isn't it, to be able to feel like that, like, you know, that a great weight is lifted off your shoulders to just have that view.
Yeah, I think so because you see so much, and the thing is, I've kept my peace for long enough. You see what's going on. You think, well, I think things will work out. The world will sort itself out, and then it doesn't. And then you think, well, hang on, and you put together some. I tell you what, honestly, there was a time back in 2014. It's very important to speak up. Twitter is something that was I really fell in love with Twitter. David Baddiel made me join Twitter when we did the show, The Infidel, and back in 2014. This is the power of it. Do you remember there was a very unfortunate situation of a journalist called James Foley was beheaded, and all the news outlets said Islamic State today beheaded American journalist James Foley, and I remember thinking, which Islamic State? Who was that? I bet it's Egypt, or I bet it's Syria. And then you saw over a couple of days, no Islamic State was coming forward. Then I realized 2 days later it was a group calling themselves Islamic State, but they kept calling it Islamic State. So I put out a tweet. I said, "Dear BBC, could you stop calling them Islamic State, because no Islamic State would ever condone this kind of behavior. Could you please maybe refer to them as the group calling themselves Islamic State?" And then it shifted 3 or 4 days later. It kind of happened. I thought, oh, well, maybe I was one of many people. About 3 years ago, I walked in the BBC. Someone said, "Oh, here he is." I said, "Hello." He goes, "Yeah, you're the bloke. You're the bloke. You used to have a TV show here. We listened to you because you said, the group calling themselves Islamic State." We thought, absolutely right. So after that, it became the group calling themselves Islamic State. Then it was Daesh. Then it was ISIS. And actually, you realize that comedians do have a power. If you say something that has, again, some kind of moral clarity, and you put it out in the world, and if they know you as a comedian where you've made them laugh and they kind of trust you, then actually there's a power there. There's a power there which, if you harness properly, can do some very good. So I realize that actually when people come to my shows, they're looking for opinions, and they're looking for something to influence them.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Now, listen, long may you reign with your opinions, because I
Absolutely.
love them. I think it's fantastic. And I think everybody should pop on over to Burnley, to the Mechanics Theatre on the 11th of April. That's coming up very soon, isn't it?
It is this Friday.
This Friday.
It's a
Get your
fantastic
tickets,
theatre,
everybody.
by the way. That's one most comics always say. I know Coming Up North is brilliant, but Burnley Mechanics is something else. Maybe it's because people are miserable. Maybe it's because their football team keeps going up and down between the Premier League and the Championship. People are a bit annoyed. But there's something about that area. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to seeing you too. For now,
Yeah.
though, Omid, thank you so much for your time. Wasn't he funny?
Yes, he was, wasn't
Yes,
he?
yes.
Yes, lovely man. Right, now we are running a project at the moment in association with Manchester Pride, and it's called HIV and Me. So we want to hear from you if you've been living with HIV, or maybe you have a friend or relative who has been. We also want to hear people's attitudes to HIV and how they have changed. So you can get in touch with us at the following email: contact us at yourmcr.com. We would love to hear from you, and that's going to build up to a special programme in the 3rd week of June. Now, Belinda and I went to visit a very special exhibition at Manchester Central Library the other day, and it's running right the way through for the next few months. And it is a sort of celebration marking 40 years of activism with the George House Trust. Have a look.
There is now a danger that has become a threat to us all. It is a deadly disease and there is no known cure. The virus can be passed during sexual intercourse with an infected person. Anyone can get it, man or woman. So far it's been confined to small groups.
It still has this stigma for a lot of people of being a gay thing, and it simply isn't.
For 40 years now, George House Trust has been supporting people living with HIV. And it's amazing to think Paul Fairweather and some of the other gentlemen that were here tonight set up a group to have a little chat, answer phone calls. People were frightened. And that was back in 1985. And to think that we have only moved on a few years, and the need then they realised it wasn't GRID. It was a disease that affected humans, so that meant it affected women, children, and heterosexual males too.
I wasn't coming to terms with the fact of my sexuality. I'd gone through that whole thing of going through school, telling my mum that I thought I was different, never used the gay word because it wasn't a word that was used back then. To always be told it's a phase you're going through, to then sort of seeing in the press the fact that, you know, the tombstone adverts, the fact that we were going to die of this disease if you were gay. I always wanted to get married and have children. So I think what's really lovely about this event now is to see how with campaigning, how with having the people that have been there right from the start, fighting to make sure we do try and eradicate HIV and AIDS. I think it's really, really important.
Well, as you know, Belinda, I got involved in George House Trust through a mutual friend of ours that is no longer with us, our Nana, and continuing the work that I know that she wanted to be continued. The George House Trust helped Nana towards the end of her life, and I can see directly how important the work was and the kind of people that needed it, and I'll never look back. It's a fantastic charity.
And in 1995, I walked through the doors for the first time with my child, who also was positive. And for people like myself, without the activism, without them gentlemen getting together, we wouldn't have the love and the support that we have today.
So my name's Jo Rosenthal and I'm the curator of the Acting Up exhibition, which is about 40 years of HIV activism in Manchester. What I've been trying to do is figure out what the story is to tell and make sure that all the voices that need to be included can be. At the heart of this exhibition, it's the archive. So there's amazing archive material that we've brought from the City Archives here at Central Library. But it's also interviews with people, new oral history interviews, films, posters, digital stuff. There's a lot of different things that we've brought together to try and be as inclusive as possible. So it's about 40 years of George House Trust, but it's also 40 years of HIV activism in the city much more broadly. They'll see people, first and foremost, I hope. They'll hear voices, they'll see people, they'll be moved, they'll listen to people's experiences. I think one of the things that's really important is that they'll understand and honour the history and the people who sadly aren't with us here today, but they'll also understand how much HIV has changed and how much progress there's been, and be encouraged to fight HIV stigma, because for so many people living with HIV today, they live full, happy, healthy lives. They're on medication and they're doing well, but the thing that's really the problem is stigma and prejudice and discrimination and ignorance. So the exhibition is hopefully going to put some of that to right and educate people about what it actually means.
I hope that the exhibition will remind people about what we've gone through, what we've done, what George House Trust has done to try and support people and to break down the stigma and to break down those barriers for people, but also to educate younger people, for them to give them a bit of fire in their belly, for them to think, you know, this is important, this is something we've got to campaign on, we've got to support, and we've got to make sure that people realise that it's not just a gay disease anymore, and it never has been, but the fact that that's how it was sort of pushed at that time, but the fact that young people now are taking care of themselves and reminding them the fact that unless they protect themselves, this isn't going to go away.
It's part of the history, and Manchester's been one of the leading cities in the activism of HIV, and you can look back over the last 40 years, they've always been on it, they've always pushed the government and the people that make those decisions, and they've made extraordinary leaps and bounds, and that just shows the hard work that's gone into it, and that some of the same people that are still around are continuing to do.
So many people are making comments about sexual activity, and I think for me, Belinda, you know, if we don't open up, this is predominantly, you know, come from people having sex. And if people aren't going to talk about that, then what they're going to do is make people like myself be derogatory towards us. They're going to make the ignorance bigger. We need to get rid of what everyone thinks happened in the 80s. It's not a tombstone. It's not dirty. It's not immoral people. And it's not people who inject drugs. It's a normal human being, Belinda, that is going to contract HIV. And it, you know, yes, today we live with one pill and we live healthily. That wasn't the case when we were diagnosed in 95.
Well,
Yes.
the cinema is yet to be wonderful. Have you seen Snow White? What an absolute shower of you know what it really is.
Really?
Yes. Do you know, it's not unmanaged even to make $100 million at the box office
Really?
yet.
So it's not even caught us up yet, then,
No,
has
but
it?
one film that I think will
Yes.
absolutely smash the box office and soar to great heights, you'll see what I've done there, everybody, is the new Superman movie.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Very good.
Did you watch Superman in the 70s, 80s? No. Did you not? I was obsessed. I actually had, for one of my birthdays, Superman speak to me. So I thought, my mother, right, no word of a pig in lie, right, decided to get me Superman 3 on a VHS. And at the end, when Superman, Christopher Reeve, flies past the globe,
Yes.
the world, the Earth,
Yes.
is that a planet? Right.
It is, I believe.
What happens? Superman spoke to me and said, "Happy birthday." So I thought, years later, it turns out it was the plumber, right? So you can imagine just how mortified I fully was.
Hang on a minute. So the plumber was flying through your...
No, the plumber did a voiceover, that was basically
The plumber did a voiceover?
Yeah.
Well, and are you still hearing voices at all?
I am literally at the moment, yes. Which is telling me that the new Superman movie is due to be released in July.
Right.
And they've spent so long on these special effects
Yes.
that they are already being touted, there's a word for
Yes.
it, touted as the best special effects in a superhero
Well,
movie.
I think that
in
is
years.
until they've seen our Superman effort in tonight's episode earlier.
Superman.
Supernan.
Yes, that's who I was being there. Did you like that? So
I used to watch...
What?
was she called?
Supergram.
Supergram.
Stand back, Superman. I stand
Yes,
Spider-Man.
Gudrun
Batman,
played
Robin,
her.
Yes.
Anyway, I'll tell you what somebody said to me only recently. They said it's record store on Saturday.
Hello. Is it?
Yes.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Isn't that good?
Now, I
Yes.
believe that's coming very, very soon. And it's going to be ever so exciting because they celebrate it in April and they celebrate it also every Black Friday as well later in the year.
Okay.
So that's going to be marvellous. Now, of course, we're affiliated with Real Groove Records.
So I'm told.
Right. Now, they are an online record store.
Oh, well, they don't count then, do they?
And, well, they
Right,
do,
next up,
because
what?
they're
Oh.
absolutely fantastic. They've got all the records.
Yes.
They've got the records of the past, records of today. And because they're a bit psychic, they've got the records not
Of
come
the-
out
of
yet.
tomorrow.
Yes, of tomorrow. Thank you.
Tomorrow's antiques today.
Yes.
How lovely.
Yes. Now, speaking of antiques and things that are past, present, and future.
Yes.
Ding
Our
ding
careers.
ding 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 ding.
Hollyoaks.
And Doctor Who
Oh,
is back on our screens.
I don't watch that.
I've got to tell you, I had a conversation last year with Russell T Davis.
Yes.
Right. You never believe this, but what's his new companion called?
What,
Belinda. His new companion is
Russell
called
T
Belinda.
Davis has got a companion called
No,
Belinda.
Doctor Who's got a companion called Belinda.
Oh, it's put me right off it. That's us then. Well, is it Bonnie Langford? Is she still
Oh,
in
no,
it?
she's in America at the moment.
She is in it, I'm told.
Yes, she is in it, yes.
I've got Doris Stokes coming through to me, and she's telling me that Bonnie Langford is in it.
God, you have to name drop, don't you? I bet you knew Doris Stokes personally, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
I bet she's been on one of your tours on Corrie, hasn't she, Flower? Hey?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking at all these cameras.
Yes, there's a
Do
lot
you know
here,
what it
isn't
puts in my mind?
What does it put in your mind?
It puts in my mind Big Brother. Yes.
with
Anyone
my
we
dear
know on
friend.
that?
I was speaking to him on Thursday. Just
Barry
gone.
Grayson?
No.
Oh.
Danny Beard.
Danny Beard.
Yes,
Yes.
and he's
is
in
he
it.
taking your calls, is he?
Is he what?
Taking your calls, is he?
Sporadically.
And I believe Noel Gordon might be in it as well. But
Noel
I might
Gordon
be
from
behind
Crossroads?
the... Yes. And what else? What else did you just shout at me?
Yes, it's all happening.
can't keep
There is
up
so
with
much
it.
going on.
Yes.
There really is so much going on. Listen, we must just mention also, whilst we're talking about television.
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum,
Hollyoaks.
Hollyoaks is back on our... No. Benidorm.
Oh, Benidorm.
Benidorm.
Yes.
It's been commissioned. Now, I had a little tete-a-tete, shall we say.
Is it confidential?
It's very confidential. But I'll let you know now. It possibly maybe 100% has been commissioned and will happen and begin and resume filming from the Pink House
Yes.
and the Solana
Yes.
next year.
Well, we both know Darren, don't we, who writes it? Do you think he'll ask us to be in it? Darren.
Darren. I got
Darren
confused
Litton.
between Darren Little and Darren Little.
They're different people, but they
Yes.
both live in Spain.
Do they?
Yes. But
Hola.
Darren Litton,
Yes.
who created and writes Benidorm,
Yes. He's from the north.
he's from Hull, actually.
Yes. And because he's lived in Spain for a while now, he doesn't have a meat and potato pie. He has a meat and potato paella. So,
Have you seen his potatoes?
have I seen what? I'd almost one night, yes.
You see, we're
I
perfect
did.
for that show.
Right. We are indeed.
Right.
Go
now,
on, do one
somebody-
of your nice segues.
Talking of food.
I love that. I love that. You can tell when they're all bored of us. We get a message
I
down
know.
earlier.
Move
Wrap
on,
it
move
up.
on.
Right.
Talking of food, I love nothing than a tin of carnation milk and, and a tin of pineapple chunks on a Sunday afternoon, don't you? Which is marvellous because there's a play coming to 53-2 and it's called A Pineapple. We met the cast earlier.
Well, joining us now in studio is the cast of one marvellous production.
Yes.
And I'm very intrigued about this one. It comes from the fabulous 53-2, and we are giddy about it. Joining us now is this collection of what I should describe as reprobates. Yes, indeed.
Oh, you know as well.
Simon with a new designer beard there.
Yes.
This is new. I think this has been here a while.
It's longer.
Is it?
Yes,
Do you know what that
you
is?
seem-
I've been
you
too
seem to
busy
be getting
working
younger
with
as
these
well.
guys. Younger?
Yes, it
We
must-
should come here every day. It's
It
great.
must be the pineapple in your life.
Well, yeah, good segue. Well done.
Thank you very much. Tell us about this show.
So, A Pineapple is written by the wonderful Olivia May, set in 2057. In the future, everything's gone a little bit wayward, it's gone a little bit wonky, and we're all living in these sort of dystopian pods that have been government given. And it's about how a grandmother and a granddaughter spend their time together until a surprise visitor comes along.
Okay, then.
Now from the
Cryptic.
cast, then we've got Christine, Will, and Ella. So this is written by somebody who also performs.
Yes,
Does
indeed.
that make a difference?
Well, I think it's interesting because very often I think writers who have come from acting have an instinct for dialogue. And I have to say that this is it's a famous last words, mate, but this script fits your mouth. Some scripts don't. Sometimes they're quite hard to learn because it doesn't land right. But this has something quite special about it, and I think it is a really rather remarkable script. I'm very excited and feel very fortunate to be.
So
to
let's
be part
find out
of it.
then who you're all playing in this then. So who are
Okay.
you playing within this?
So I play Connie, and Connie is the grandmother, and she is a woman who is somebody who's been brought up by a very strong kind of female political background. So she's quite opinionated, she's very strong-minded, but she is mischievous and she's funny, and she is full of care and concern about her ward, her lovely granddaughter. And when the stranger arrives amongst us, she absolutely gives as good as she gets. So it's quite a compelling story because although they're located in a tight place, they are closed in. You see the whole world in terms of collective kind of relationships and how people want to be beyond what their means allows them. So it's full of kind of, I think there's hope in there in all of these people, certainly in the relationship between her and her granddaughter.
Okay, and you're obviously playing the granddaughter in this then.
Yeah, so I'm playing Nia, the granddaughter.
Nia, tell us all about her character then.
Nia, well, she has grown up in the pod. So prior to the pod, you know, we were in the real life world with her mum and dad, and then we move into said pod. And along the way, we lose some people, and basically my upbringing was through my nana. So I'm a mixture of this girl who's not been able to have a childhood. She's learned everything in that pod, how to read, write, and we grow things and have learned, we're very practical people. And yeah, so she's childlike, yet she's so inquisitive and curious about all that is in the world. And then she meets a man, and it's that exploration of, it almost feels like playground crush meets adult love, but also that curiosity of different rankings of society meeting as well.
Right.
So it's very clever. That's how I describe the writing, very clever.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder who you're playing.
I design. So I play Charles, who is the stranger. So I come into this dynamic from the outside world and change everything for all of them. Everyone's lives change in a way from that moment. Charles is from a very, very different background to these two. He is of a higher class, higher status. The world that he lives in is very different. He has what he wants, has what he needs, doesn't have to worry about the same things that these guys have to worry about, which is quite an interesting dynamic, and that's quite exciting to play with. There's a lot of playing with power and control, influence, and it's quite a nice comment on the world that we sort of live in today as well. You know, we do see that.
It actually sounds very, very compelling, and it's enthralling to just from yourselves to dive into this story. Why do you think this will work for audiences perhaps that don't know too much about this?
Well, I think, you know, even if you don't know too much about it, there's a lot that resonates with the world that we live in today. There are lots of themes, whether that's things like the environment. You know, in our world, the environment has collapsed. That's a huge concern for a lot of people today. There's things to do with wealth, privilege, inequality, which we see in the news day to day. So I think even if you're not familiar with this world that we're setting it in, there's a lot that you can take from it.
You are developing, unlike some smaller theatres that are kind of getting people in from all over the shop, you seem to want to really hone on what is important about this city and bring out what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, strangely, a lot of people think I'm not from Manchester. I was born here. Manchester means a lot to me. It's meant a lot to my family. I think from the 1500s, we're from Blakely. So we're about as mank as it gets. It's widely known, really, that a lot of the arts, particularly acting, theatre, telly, is changing, but a lot of it is London-based, particularly theatre. And actually, sometimes a lot of that talent that we're stood right in the middle of is overlooked. And that opportunity should be for everyone. We should be looking closer to home. We should be building our own network, which is why we only ever do brand new writing or writing that's only ever been done in London. There's so much talent out there, and there's so much to be given, to be found, and to be done. So yeah, if we can build a community around that, that would be fabulous.
Well, this is a testament to exactly what you're doing, because although A Pineapple will start its kind of life on the 23rd to the 3rd of May over at 53.2, it then goes on the 7th of May to the Lawrence Batley Theatre in Huddersfield, and then the 8th and 9th of May, it's at the Duke's Lancaster. That must feel great for you as somebody that's putting theatre together.
Absolutely. It's terrifying. I'm not going to lie. It's the first time we've gone out. We did turned up at the Oldham Coliseum, but that was just there. That was years ago. So this is our first tour, and it's only a baby tour, and we're so thankful to Lawrence Batley and Dukes, Olivia and Chris, to support us on that, because it's huge for us, but it's about forming that touring network in the north that ourselves and her productions do, and others do. It's so important, because theatre is happening in the north as well. Which camera are we on? It's happening in the north, and that shouldn't be ignored. You know.
Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end
of tonight's
show.
Does indeed.
It
Well, thanks
does.
to each and every one of you for watching this week's episode. Make sure you're checking out our exclusive interviews.
Yes, because we're on Tickery Clock and something else, and it's to do what I don't know.
It's all over. Basically, loads of extra exclusive interviews and full-length interviews as well over on all socials. Thanks for watching this week's episode of
Your Manchester.